professor, I will test you in the worst way. Don't bring a Scantron, pop quizzes all day. Cause of our chemistry, we do biology.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail, family. Boys, girls, and money. So, this is another play on the little stepdaddy discussion, but because the guy had a part of his story was, how much he did for his quote unquote stepdaughter that wasn't his stepdaughter. And I asked a question on Bernard Riley's podcast on his show, like, would that happen for a boy? And for me, the answer is no. You're not going to see men who want to play quote unquote the stepdaddy role buy the kid a car at 16, then pay for the young man's college, then let the kid come stay at home while they're an adult. And then if the young man decides he wants to get married, help that man pay for the wedding. You're not going to see that from quote-unquote stepdaddy, side daddy, boyfriend daddy types. And it brought me to the aspect of family where, a lot of times we don't talk about this, especially in our community, but in general, how much money is wasted on girls and how much money is not utilized for boys to get ahead. So now we have this dilemma, and money is a tool of measure in some ways. So if you give, how often are you giving this kid hundreds of dollars? How often are you giving this kid thousands of dollars? What did it add up to? And 9 times out of 10, what you see is you see an exorbitant amount of money spent on young ladies and their families. Because they even brought up the thing with Shaq. He's like, he's going to leave his daughter's money. His boy's going to have to figure it out. In some ways. Not always, but in some ways. And the issue becomes what? You help the girls, and even in your dying day, you leave things to the girls. But with the boys, you don't really help them, and you have them fend for themselves. And they're supposed to be the boys that subsequently wind up taking care of somebody else's girls that they've invested in heavily. Normally at the detriment of the boys in their family. So ultimately, your daughter, you're the bailout plan, and possibly a man she meets is a bailout plan for your daughters. For your sons, you're on your own, and when you figure out how to make it on your own, you need to take care of somebody else's daughter that somebody else has been taking care of. So, and ironically, the daughter's not trained to take care of the guy. So this is how money works in family between boys and girls. So ultimately, the family isn't good to the boys. Because when you say, there's a large demographic of young ladies in college, there's more women in college than men. Well, that's true. Pretty much across, for almost all but probably one demographic of ethnicity. And the issue with that is this. The families are willing to invest in the daughter's future so the daughter don't need a man. She needs to have a job, a career, something that she can take care of herself so she doesn't need a man. But they don't put the same effort and time and money into, son, we need you to do X, Y, and Z so you can provide for a family. And while you're learning these things and we're supporting these things, we're going to teach these young ladies that this is what they got to do for a guy like you. It's not happening. It's pretty much the opposite. So I think what you start seeing is young women have this tendency to act as though money grows on trees. Because there's always some more money around, whether it be the parents, whether it be your grandparents, whether it be your uncles, your aunts, whether it be maybe older siblings, or some guy that you might be dating. There's always a gift present. But for the boys, that's not the case. It's not the case. For the boys become a burden much quicker in the family dynamic than the girls do. And ironically, the boy becomes a burden quicker than the girl, but the boy actually asks for less and receives less on a normal basis. In a general sense. You don't have to spend as much with that boy. You don't have to do as much with that boy. But unfortunately, since boys get less already, you're going to give them little to nothing. And you're okay. I forgot the young lady. She's like an activist, a female activist. She did the Cadillac commercial. I did a video about it. But she's about empowering women. But the irony is that lady who's about empowering women has a son. So the optics of it looks like, even in the image, you'll fight more for the possibility of female empowerment than you would your own son. He's on his own. You're on a mission to make sure women are okay, but your own child is your flesh and blood, that's your son. You're not caping for him like that. So it goes the same way with families in investing in their children. They overly invest in the women at the detriment of the boys. And, with the boys, a failure rate counts. If you fail, that's an issue. With the girls, it doesn't look like if she fails, it's not a problem. Because if she fails, hopefully there's some young man who's going to come clean it up. So, in my opinion, it becomes a bad, evil deal to give to people. But that's just my perspective. Tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace. You ever been at the top of the universe? I'm gonna tell you that.